I am optimistic about our nation's future by Anna Peterkis, St. Charles North High School. Nations are built upon principles and ideals. They are driven to success by their citizens and forged in strength through hard work and determination. America has all these attributes, but also has the grit, determination, and togetherness required to bring us into the future. This determination and will to learn more, be more independent, think outside the box, and strive to better ourselves is born by the young adults of my generation. We are the future. I am optimistic about the United States of America, her future, and her people. Growing up as an expatriate overseas, I was able to look at America and her ideals from the outside. I was able to compare and contrast the judgments made in our government, the way Americans portrayed themselves on television shows, and evaluate from outside the effects of conflicts we have entered into. Underlying all the media, the news, the governmental decisions, and the conflicts is the main theme of democracy. There is no other nation that fights for democracy and equality more than the United States of America. Take, for example, the reforms we have made in the education system. Our leaders saw that as a whole, America was lagging behind other prosperous countries in a multitude of educational areas, with inequality within the school systems. Leaders looked at the problem, saw where we were lagging behind, set up the No Child Left Behind initiative, and started the education system back on the right track. In other countries, I have seen that if you cannot afford to send your child to the top school, then your child is not given as many opportunities as that of the wealthy citizens. America's system builds towards the nation's future, where other countries create an elitist society that may or may not produce a stable national environment in the future. America's system also builds a person who is well-rounded and can converse on many different topics, can debate intelligently with one another, and has learned the value of determination to get what you desire. Optimism for America's future can also be measured in the amount of self-reliance we have on ourselves as citizens and as a country. We are a nation that has the ability to buckle down and figure out a solution to a problem, not spend months trying to come to a conclusion. We have representatives elected to the government that speak for us, so that our collective voices are heard. These representatives will debate a topic in a timely manner until there is a reasonable outcome for everyone involved. In our personal lives, I cannot think of another country whose citizens put forth the effort to make something of themselves and not be a burden to the system. We are able to listen to our elders, learn from their wisdom, form judgments of our own, make a solid conclusion, and be reliant on the decisions that we make. We are a nation of go-getters, movers, and shakers, and people not ready to give up. For this, I am optimistic for America's future. Respecting others is built into the framework of American life. As a nation, we are made up of a melting pot of different nationalities, different cultures, different religious beliefs, different views, and different colors. Yet, we all respect and get along with people from all nations and walks of life. It is for this reason that we have people from other nationalities wanting to immigrate to America for her basic acceptance and understanding of all people. These immigrants have formed enclaves in big cities I love to visit. Chinatown, with its quirky, tasty different kinds of food. Little India, where the colors and smells are amazing to behold. Greek Town, with the fun restaurants where everyone is treated as a family. And Little Italy, where no meal would be complete without pasta of some kind. These places are the patchwork of America, made up of people from other countries that have chosen to live in our great nation, and to make our nationality their own. Immigrants have enthusiasm about their new life in America, and this enthusiasm is courageous. We all feel the goodness and hope from interacting together. In my lifetime, this country has been faced with many tragedies, whether a natural disaster or man-made devastation. Each and every time, Americans have responded with encouragement, assurance, and confidence that the tragedy would not destroy us, and we would support those that were affected. When Hurricane Sandy hit New York and New Jersey, people from the whole nation helped out to rescue, rebuild communities, and rehome those that stood in the hurricane's path. During the terror of 9/11, our president and elected officials responded. Our military took swift, decisive actions as they have been trained. The citizens rallied rallied round everyone affected, and we became more cohesive as a nation. This assurance and ability to comfort others in the face of adversity is another reason that I am optimistic about America's future. The United States of America is just that, united. America is a small town in the way that we care about one another. She is a big city with the inner infrastructure to connect us all together. She is a superpower in the global marketplace, yet still harnesses the creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship to move all of us forward. I am optimistic about our nation's future. Am I optimistic about our nation's future? You bet. The United States of America has much to offer in the future, both to her citizens and to the world.
America was created as the land of dreams and possibilities. In 1492, a man by the name of Christopher Columbus sailed our ocean blues to prove that the world was round. But little did he know that in his venture he would find a new area of land, an area of possibility. This land was named America. Since its discovery, many people have found their dreams coming true. From our ancestors winning our freedom from Great Britain during the Revolutionary War, through Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, and many others, our nation has continued to become all that we want it to be. I know that the people today have been brought up by some of the greatest people in history, and the people today will do everything in their power to be worthy of them. Through the years, many people have proven that one person can change the world. A prime example of this is Martin Luther King Jr. I believe that if one person can do that much good, imagine how much good can be done by millions of people. Each person wants to do something to make a difference and make the world a better place to live. Nowadays, we are raised to be leaders in our homes, schools, and communities, and we stand up for what's right. This role will be passed down for generations to come, and it will only make this nation that much better. Also, look at all the improvements in the technology of our nation. Thanks to technology advancements in recent years, many cures to common diseases have been found. This has not only saved many lives, but it has also given people a reason to fight and provides them with hope that bad things can turn out good. It is this passion to fight and the hope that we have that provided our nation the ability to protect our country and all that it stands for. In the words of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. You can see this clearly in many people today. If our country was in jeopardy tomorrow, no one would waste a second to think. They would stand up and fight no matter the outcome, because that is what's best for our nation. Throughout the years, people have stood up and come together during our nation's time of need. A few examples of this would be after the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941, after 9/11 in 2001, and just recently after the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013. It is this willingness to come together, to come to the aid of others, and the selflessness of those who have stood up to fight for our country, knowing that while saving others' lives, they could be losing their own, that makes me proud of our nation's future. You only get out of life what you put in, so you have to stand up for all that you believe in. I believe that our nation has an optimistic future because of our ancestors' footsteps in which we are following. They have taught us to be leaders and fighters who are proud to stand up for their country. It is up to this generation to continue in these footsteps and continue to proudly stand up for our country. Our nation's future is in our hands, and based on all of these events, I am extremely optimistic that we will persevere.
It's a scorching 4th of July evening as fireworks shoot off into the night sky. Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA blares through the speakers as tiny hands wave their flags with infinite pride. A teenage boy looks into the sky and ponders over the lyrics, wondering how those men and women were willing to sacrifice themselves to allow future generations to prosper. He ponders over those who have fallen, the gruesome casualties and agonizing pain they endured on the battlefield, knowing it was for the future's sake. He envisions their grieving families, crumpling to the ground and sobbing their hearts out knowing that their loved one would never get to come home and be embraced in their arms. He tries to process how a soldier is one day perfectly healthy, but the next day might be getting fitted for artificial limbs or having to endure post-traumatic stress disorder for the rest of their lives, perhaps fighting back flashbacks of their colleagues being blown away or lying motionless on the desert sand. The boy is inspired by the courage and composure a soldier conveys, and he doesn't want their voices to be left unheard or for future generations to fall apart. I am their voice, he thinks, and I want to follow their lead. When I envision optimism, I perceive it as a belief of overall hope in opposition to the realities we face. Our society will always face reality's nullifying effects, but America is capable of prevailing over pessimism. Our nation has recently endured terrorist attacks, financial instability, violent shootings, and countless more setbacks. As Americans, we are persistent and won't simply give in to those who threaten our freedoms. This trait has carried on since the establishment of our nation centuries ago, as our ancestors have passed these ideals down generation after generation. Our men and women will step up to the plate with such determination and bravery to secure America's future. We should feel grateful that there will always be people in the future generations who are willing to place their boots on the ground on both foreign and domestic land, bringing terrorists to justice. Our future is within the hands of selfless and heroic soldiers who will stop at nothing to defend America's ideals, but we must learn from their leadership and look towards the light at the end of the tunnel. I'd like to address the fact that my generation in particular is stereotyped about how we take our rights and privileges for granted without thinking of those who defended those liberties. However, I would like you to take note that our youth will not accept being defined as spoiled, arrogant individuals. Some may wonder, where is America's future exactly? My answer is simple. You're looking at its creators. Every child and every teen are the future innovators and difference makers for tomorrow. Our youth may be a little over a quarter of the population, but we are entirely the future. Our generation's defining moment for our country is already in the making and developing as our youth continues to gradually grow more aware and embracive of their society. We are the leaders and voices of the future as we find new methods to strengthen and protect our freedoms for generations to come. We are the voices of the past generations as we pass on stories of their heroic patriotism and service. We are the voices willing to stand up for the moral values that seem just for the country's sake. We are the voices, and they will grow more projective and articulate as we get older and set out into the world to change our society with much perseverance. Stronger voices, filled with optimism, will outweigh the pessimistic whispers that trigger some individuals who might be doubtful about the future. I simply want them to know that we are identified as united for a reason. Our nation has stuck together through thick and thin. America will prevail in the future as long as we can support one another. I put forth the challenge to my generation, to older generations, and to our future generations to be optimistic about the future, and know that they are capable of making a difference. To my peers, I assert to you, be aware of your brothers and sisters who sacrificed their lives for you to stand on this earth as a free person, to thank them for their service by helping them with their transition and coming home with employment and education. To the adults out there, I hope you are willing to open your minds and be at ease with passing the torch on to current adolescents and to the youth who will lead our society in the future. You have the power to teach them your wisdom. Teach the youth to cherish their past as they look towards the future, but also to allow them to flourish in finding innovative ways to protect, honor, and secure America's ideals. In short, I am optimistic for the future of America, knowing that my generation and hopefully those to come are willing to continue developing what past generations tried so very hard to achieve. The future must speak on behalf of those past generations and of those who have served and died fighting for our country. So perhaps they will not have died in vain. The future must speak on behalf of those who are currently stationed in Afghanistan or other parts of the globe who have given their all, perhaps the ultimate sacrifice, so others may live to protect America's future. In the words of Lee Greenwood, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say. In other words, we all have optimism deep within us, but it's simply a question of whether the future generations are willing to voice their hopes towards America with confidence.